right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, embattled St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner meets with the public to discuss crime in the city, the very issue that has the Missouri Attorney General trying to oust her.
A brighter sky and warmer weather just in time for Cardinals opening day. The only weather concern for baseball Thursday, plus an update on Friday's severe threat.
But first tonight, a Catholic mass following a mass murder in Nashville.
Evelyn was a shining light, and she will be greatly missed by all.
One of the 9-year-old victims has family in Washington, Missouri, where the community came together in prayer.
14 minutes. That's how long it took a former student to shoot and kill 6 people inside a grade school. Tonight, we're learning more about what happened during those life-changing moments. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Today, Nashville police released the body cam footage of officers running toward the danger at Covenant School. A warning, this video may be tough to watch.
Let's go!
This video shows officers quickly moving classroom to classroom. They came across the heavily armed shooter. The officers then shot and killed Audrey Hale. Investigators say Hale was under doctor's care for an emotional disorder. Hale bought 7 firearms from 5 different stores in the area legally. Tonight, a memorial mass was held in Franklin County in honor of one of the young victims in yesterday's shooting.
9-year-old Evelyn Dickhouse has family in Washington, Missouri, and 5 on Your Side's Laura Barczewski was there for tonight's service.
Parishioners at St. Francis Borgia Catholic Church filled the pews on Tuesday night to pray for the Dickhouse family as they go through this unimaginable tragedy of losing Evelyn.
For our deceased relatives and friends, especially Evelyn Dickhouse and all the Covenant School victims, that they be welcomed to the company of the saints, we pray to the Lord.
The community in Washington, Missouri is mourning the loss of 9-year-old Evelyn Dickhouse, who was shot and killed at her school in Nashville, Tennessee. Her grandparents, Tom and Linda Dickhouse, are members of St. Francis Borgia, where the entire congregation is ready to support them, starting with prayer.
No one can give an answer as to why this stuff happens. Nothing definitive anyway. So we, as a people of faith, we turn to our faith, we turn to our God.
Father Mike Bames shared this statement from the family.
It says, on behalf of the entire Dickhouse family, we thank everyone for your continued thoughts and prayers as we grieve the unimaginable loss of Evelyn Dickhouse. Evelyn was a shining light, and she will be greatly missed by all.
He says walking over to their school on Tuesday, he was thinking about the safety of the children here who are just like the students in Nashville, just trying to learn.
Safety is our top priority, and it is. It always will be. But you just hope and pray that we can do enough.
Father Bames says he wants everyone to pray for all of the families affected by this tragedy.
So amidst all of this, though we don't have the adequate words to speak to it, thankfully, God does.
The church says they're going to continue to support the family as best they can and will release more information to the public whenever possible. Reporting in Washington, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
Once again, gun laws are at the forefront of discussions among lawmakers. President Biden spoke about the Second Amendment today in North Carolina, calling on Congress to renew an assault weapons ban.
Everybody thinks somehow the Second Amendment is absolute. You're not allowed to go out and own an automatic weapon. You're not allowed to own a machine gun. You're not allowed to own a flamethrower. You're not allowed to own so many other things. Why in God's name do we allow these weapons of war in our streets and at our school?
Over in Washington, Tennessee, Representative Tim Burchett expressed a different opinion.
We can pass all the laws we want, but somebody's going to 3D print a book. Somebody's going to get ammonium nitrate like they did in Oklahoma and Timothy McVeigh. Completely evil. Didn't have a assault weapon, whatever that is, whatever the new definition of that is. Didn't have any of that, and that's what we're going to have. The laws don't work. Until people change their hearts, we're not going to see a change.
President Biden says he's exhausted all executive authority on gun control. He says it's up to Congress. Clearly, our political system remains deadlocked on major changes to gun laws, despite one sickening shooting after another. We'll continue to follow any developments on the gun debate out of Washington. You can also find the latest information coming out of Nashville on the 5 on Your Side app.
New tonight, an outpouring of support for embattled St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner. It comes as the Missouri Attorney General fights to remove her from office over claims she's failing to do her job. Our Brent Solomon is live in North City, where Gardner just spoke directly to her supporters. Brent.
And we're at the Westside Missionary Baptist Church tonight, where you could call it a Kim Gardner pep rally of sorts. It just wrapped up within the last hour. Tonight, an unguarded circuit attorney telling a crowd of supporters she's ready for battle.
So this quote, warrant or whatever I'm not supposed to talk about is baseless. It's foolishness. But guess what? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
It was a moment for Kim Gardner to address her base. A crowd of supporters packing the church this evening to hear her side of the story. As an effort moves forward to remove her from office, Gardner says people have tried to sabotage her office from day one. In part, she says, because she's the first black St. Louis circuit attorney, and because of her approach to divert criminals into programs to be better people instead of automatically sending them to prison. She claims the pushback is due to her, quote, trying to change a system that has decimated communities.
There's many issues with crime all over in Missouri and elsewhere, but to make her a scapegoat related to this, and now it's going to where they want to investigate her taxes and so forth. This is about power and control, and to say it's about white men wanting control of the power, and they want to take it out of our hands.
I'm not convinced that she is doing a bad job. I am convinced that we got a lot of problems in the city of St. Louis. I really want to hear Kim Gardner talk. I'm really interested in hearing what she has to say.
Incompetent, right? They always want to say incompetent. Last time I checked, I got 20 years of a law license, okay? Last time I checked, this 8-year unelected attorney general has nothing on 20 years, right? And let me say, because I got the media here, unelected. He was never put in by nobody.
Gardner said tonight that the efforts to get her out of office directly undermine the voice of the people who put her into office. She said tonight she plans to run for a third term, and that announcement was met with a standing ovation. We're live in St. Louis tonight. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
And tonight, the Missouri Senate is considering stripping the city's control over its police force in favor of a state-run police board. 5 on Your Side spoke with the last mayor to lead the city under state control. Francis Slay was the longest-serving mayor ever in St. Louis. Now he's urging Senate Republicans to remember the scandals and corruption and political favors that happened under a police board.
One of them actually was making passes at police officers. A male.
You're suggesting sexual harassment was
one was making passes at police officers for promises of a promotion.
Okay.
Another one had a relative that was involved in a criminal situation that tried to pull the record or somehow
squash the evidence.
Squash the evidence.
Slay said to have true accountability, control of police has to rest in city government. Ultimately, the decision could come down to Governor Mike Parson. Today, he wouldn't say how he feels about it one way or the other.
Tonight, the Environmental Protection Agency asked for feedback from people who live near the West Lake Landfill Superfund site in Bridgeton.
Right now, plans are underway to excavate and remove radioactive waste buried in the landfill. Those plans were not shared tonight.
The purpose of tonight's meeting is to receive feedback from the community, and that will allow us to understand how we can communicate better with the public moving forward through the Superfund site process as we get closer towards remedial action of excavation.
The project is expected to start in March of next year.
We've been following contamination concerns at Westlake and along Coldwater Creek for years. Tonight, we're learning for decades, the federal government has paid hundreds of millions of dollars to workers with the Department of Energy who suffer from certain diseases from radiation exposure after working on contamination projects. Our I-team wants to know why the same isn't done for people who live there and suffer the same medical problems. Senior investigative reporter Paula Vasan spoke to one Missouri lawmaker who is trying to change that.
Much of the focus has been on radioactive contamination in and along Coldwater Creek, which runs through North St. Louis County. Missouri Representative Tricia Burns says people in Weldon Spring in St. Charles County have been largely ignored.
My son came down with a cancer that's only happened as many times as 50 in medical history.
Republican Missouri lawmaker Tricia Burns believes it's a result of growing up and raising her family in North St. Louis and St. Charles counties. They're areas with histories of radioactive and toxic waste that started in the 1940s during the development of the atomic bomb. She says her proposed legislation, known as House Concurrent Resolution 21, would demand compensation from the federal government. The money would go toward medical screening and care.
It really makes you wonder how it's gone on this long, but you can understand how much Missouri has just been gaslighted by the federal government.
Why do you think this legislation is so needed?
It's needed because it's gone on for decades, and I think that the spread of damage across Missouri from St. Louis City all the way to St. Charles County, it's so vast.
How much money do you think it's going to take care of people in Missouri?
I think it's probably easily going to take over $300 million.
She says federal programs compensate people for injuries related to the atomic bomb. There are people living in certain areas within the 11 highlighted states you see here, including Texas, Colorado, and New Mexico. But people in our area who also believe they're suffering as a result of long-term exposure to atomic waste aren't covered under any federal programs. That's despite a CDC report in 2019, which estimated that long-term exposure to Coldwater Creek could have increased the risk of developing lung cancer, bone cancer, or leukemia. This comes as Jen Elementary is not expected to reopen. It's a school in Florissant that gained national attention after reports of radioactive contamination at its site. Want to reach out to me about this story or another investigative tip? Email me at paula@ksdk.com. For the I-Team, Paula Vasan, 5 on your side.
The representative tells our I-Team that her bill passed a rules committee yesterday. The next step for Representative Burns' legislation is to make it to the House floor for debate.
Scammers ready to strike in time of tragedy. Tonight we verify the 4 ways to determine a legitimate charity from a scam.
We're seeing much higher counts of the pollen and much earlier on.
It's not just in your head. Doctors say allergy season is getting longer and stronger. Why there's more pollen in the air.
And with the warmer air the next few days, the tree pollen's going up here. Also increasing our chances of severe weather on Friday. What we know from the latest forecast guidance.
New developments tonight in a so-called parental kidnapping plot that led to the arrest of the Iron County Sheriff, 2 deputies, and a 4th person. The 4 men went to court today to try to get their bond reduced. Judge Tony Dorsett declined to lower the bonds of the 3 officers, but did allow Rick Gaston to be released on a $50,000 cash bond and be placed under house arrest. However, all 4 defense attorneys argue that the case should be thrown out due to a 2022 court order between Gaston and the alleged victim.
Deputies went above and beyond and actually called the judge about this, yet the state is insisting that they couldn't.
I would have been doing the same thing. If you thought you had an irrational mother of your child, objectively irrational, where your child's in danger, and you have a court order that's being violated, it's within his right, your right, and my right to go enforce that court order.
As it stands, all 4 suspects are scheduled to be back in court April 26th But attorney Gabe Crocker, who represents the sheriff, says he will be filing an appeal to have the case looked at by another judge.
Just hours from now, the man charged in the murder of a St. Charles woman will be back in court for a bond hearing. Tomorrow marks 1 week since Joseph DeJoy was arraigned in a St. Louis County court. Investigators say they found Jackie Mitchell's body in DeJoy's Maryland Heights bedroom 6 days after her disappearance. As of today, neither the toxicology nor autopsy results have been released.
Tonight, groups are raising money for the victims of the Nashville school shooting. But how do you know your money is getting into the right hands? Here's Brandon Lewis from our Verify team.
Verify here with your Fast Fact. In the wake of tragic events, people often look for ways to help, but sometimes scammers also try to take advantage. So let's verify 4 ways to spot a charity scam. These are our sources. First, research the website and donation page that wants your money. These groups can help make sure the organization is legit. Second, be cautious about donation requests solicited by email. Fight Cybercrime warns real charities don't include attachments in their emails, and the FBI recommends going directly to an organization's website instead of clicking links in an email. Third, verify the payment method and never give cash or virtual currency. The FTC recommends paying by credit card or check and reviewing your bank statements carefully. Fourth, listen for red flags when someone contacts you. Scammers often make vague claims and try to rush you into donating before you have time to do your research. If you do fall for a scam, Fight Cybercrime says you should contact your bank, check your credit card, and save all communication in case you need to file a criminal complaint. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What would you like us to verify? Send us an email to verify@ksdk.com.
$350 million is being put into the Lake of the Ozarks. Our partners at the St. Louis Business Journal say the construction project for a new resort will begin this summer in Osage Beach. An amusement park should open by next summer. The rest of the project, including a hotel and indoor water park, is scheduled to wrap up by 2026. Leaders broke ground today on $44 million in East St. Louis.
It's catalytic for our region, it's catalytic for our city. It shows that we can do good business in the city of East St. Louis.
Development of the Broadview Hotel is the largest project in downtown East St. Louis since the Casino Queen opened in 1993. When completed next fall, it will feature 110 apartments and 20,000 square feet of retail and commercial space. The space will focus on veterans and older adults.
Those who suffer from seasonal allergies have surely noticed allergy season is getting worse and it's lasting longer. Allergy season used to begin in late March, but new government research shows pollen season starts 20 days earlier and lasts 10 days longer. The study also finds there's 21% more pollen in the air than 1990 because of what they say is carbon dioxide from man-made climate change.
As these CO2 levels increase, the plants are thriving even more so. And as a result, they're producing much higher levels of pollen than usual.
Doctors recommend 24-hour antihistamines, over-the-counter nasal sprays, and eye drops. All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell with that Weather First forecast. And Scott, I know all eyes are on opening day, which is Thursday, and then Friday, where severe weather might be a possibility.
Severe weather, certainly a possibility because of this system off the west coast right now. It's a pretty powerful system. You see the spin in the atmosphere. Lots of energy with this system, a lot of wind, and it's going to be pushing our way as we head towards the next couple of days. The clouds we had this afternoon, they've left. The cool temperatures today may have eased the pollen numbers just a little bit, but tomorrow as we warm up, those pollen numbers are really going to jump. Here's a look at the disturbance that came through this evening. That's moving away. Now our attention turns to that big system out west as it pulls through the Rockies into the plains. We have lots of energy to work with. We have a strong jet stream, so we have strong winds aloft. At the surface, you'll have your cold front coming in from the west. This is a pretty classic severe weather setup across the middle part of the country. Lots of moisture being pulled to the north, gusty winds even at the ground, and then you have a broad area where there's the potential of severe weather. We've seen this happen before, but will it happen here this time? Well, at this point, we're still seeing if all the ingredients will come together. We know Friday is a weather alert day from your Weather First team. We know the shear, the winds, that's certainly not a problem. The lift, getting the atmosphere, the air to rise, that's not a problem. Moisture looks like it'll be plentiful. The question is, what about that instability? That's where things are still in question and in play at this point. So for the moment, at this point, we know today was pretty nice, just some showers, and it's cool tonight. We're frosty early tomorrow. We have the home opener looking great, and then that severe weather chance for Friday. So overnight, we drop back into the lower 30s. We should wake up frosty tomorrow. Still too early to get out there and plant the tender vegetation just yet. Wait till tax day. Close to 60 tomorrow. Here you are for opening day in St. Louis. The entire day is nice. The only thing we have to deal with that's a weather concern as we head towards the latter innings of the game, you can expect to see the winds start picking up and becoming gusty. So here are your next 10 days. And yes, temperatures are up and down quite a bit. And we also have that potential for some stronger thunderstorms, not only on Friday, but heading into next week, it still looks stormy. Again, the big question is, are the ingredients going to come together over our area to create severe weather? And those are answers that, we'll fine tune it as we get closer, but it's certainly not a guarantee. If we can get some rain Friday morning and let those clouds hang around, that's a really good thing.
Okay, we'll keep a close eye on it. Scott, thank you.
Yeah.
Frank, what's coming up in sports?
Brad Beal is being investigated. Becky Sauerbrunn will be interviewed, and the Blues are energized.
As we gear up for opening day, StubHub ticket sales say Thursday's Cardinals game against the Blue Jays is the #1 best-selling game in Major League Baseball. It's outselling the #2 game between the Giants and Yankees by 34%. Thursday's tickets at Busch start at $184 a piece on StubHub.
If you're one of the lucky ones going into the game, remember, bags are allowed inside Busch, but it cannot be larger than 10 by 8 by 10 inches. The only exceptions are diaper bags and medical bags. You can bring outside food and drinks as long as they are non-alcoholic and in clear plastic containers. Sunscreen is also allowed, but not in an aerosol can.
And whether you go into the game or watch it from home, here's the schedule leading up to the first pitch. Pep rally starts at 10:30 Thursday morning at Ballpark Village. Busch Stadium's gates open at noon. The pregame ceremonies, the best in baseball, begin at 2:25. Then, right-hander Miles Michaelis will take the mound at 3:10 for the first pitch of the season. You can get everything you need to know about opening day sent straight to your phone. Just text the word Cardinals to 314-425-5355. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show is next.
Have a great night.